guys, what's up? My name is Cars. Welcome to Fix Your Shitty Movement. I'm talking about the swing. I'm badgering you with the swing. It's going to continue until you relent. We're talking about the single arm swing today. Now, you might think, well, how much different could that be from the two-handed swing? The answer is dramatically. In fact, I think it's more important to spend time on that for a long time, long being relative, than even going into the clean or the snatch. Because what it really highlights is a person's inability to stabilize the non-loaded side. So what happens in the single arm swing is that often people will have a really hard time not rotating, and then they do something like this. So it's very difficult for people to maintain, in other words, that plank position when both sides aren't loaded. So actually the double bell swing is even easier than the single arm swing for that very reason. So with the single arm swing, you set up exactly the same as a regular swing. And I will show you the regular swing. I'm going to show you from this viewpoint first. So both hands on the handle, tilt, sit back, look down the shirt, hike, pop up, and notice you see the perfect circle of the bottom of the bell at chest height each time, right? Okay, so with a single arm swing, it's exactly the same thing, you just take one arm away. And so some people will actually tap the side of the bell. I used to do something like this. Now I prefer something like this. I feel like it helps me really lock in this side. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you the basic single arm swing, and then I'm going to show you how I do it. So both hands on the handle, and then I'm going to move my right hand to the center of the handle and my left arm right by it, my left hand. Sit back, okay, and switch. And because the bell floats, right, you should be comfortable with switching. So now what you should have seen, again, was the bottom of the bell each time and me not rotating. So should have kept my shoulders, I mean, obviously there's going to be a tiny bit of deviation just because of where the arms are positioned, but my shoulders were straight across. But all the same markers were the same. My arm was high up between my legs. I'll show you from the side. I played chicken with my crotch. You could look down my shirt the whole time. All that good stuff. So now from the side, same thing. I'm going to hinge my hips back. I'm going to start with my left arm this time. Sit back, drag, hike. So what this really works on is grip on that one side, as well as your lat on that side. So again, very important. The other thing too that's especially very important in a lot of exercises with the barbell is anti-rotation. So I've said before, obliques kind of get credit as being rotational muscles. They are anti-rotation, and perhaps more importantly, I don't want to say more importantly, definitely more importantly in loaded movement. Because in the squat, right, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do this in our deadlift, in our bench. I'm sure if you do powerlift especially, you've experienced when you've been either close to failure or failed that your body kind of twists a little bit, especially in the bench press. And that's what I'm talking about. Because if you engage your lats, you will engage your obliques. Isn't that nifty? And that's why I'm not wearing a shirt. Well, I never wear a shirt anyway. But if I engage my lats, you should see that it engages my obliques too. And again, it's their anti-rotation that I'm especially interested in, especially in the single arm swing, but also in the clean and also in the snatch. Pretty much anything single-sided, even the single-sided military press or single-sided squat. All of those things, of course, well, the squat, never mind the military press, are part of your 100-day challenge. I wish it was the military press because I love it, but you know what, fuck it. Trying to make this as easy for us as possible. So one thing I want to point out is that when I do a single arm swing or even doubles, anything where my one hand is loaded, even if it's both with different bells, I always turn the bell in. And the main reason for that is I'm not a very big person. I'm 5'5" and I'm muscular, but I'm not very tall, to say the least. So when I start doing swings or cleans with a really heavy bell, especially if it's doubles, it'll be very difficult for me to fit both bells through my legs. So, but that's just the case with everybody, because, you know, when you start doing heavy cleans, it's with like 55 pounds, if not more, especially guys, you know, they're using like the 100-pound bell. Not to say that women don't, but it's typically, that's what a lot of men use for those types of things. That sucker is fucking big. It's hard for anyone to fit that far. And if you go too wide, it is going to change the mechanics of the movement. It won't be quite, well, you won't be able to activate your glutes as well, because you won't be able to hinge as well. But you can even feel if you have your legs super wide and you try to squeeze your butt versus if you have them a little narrower and squeeze your butt, that's a big difference. So the other reason that I like to turn the bell in is because I like the way that it packs my shoulder. So if my arm is like this, sure, I can pack it no problem. But when it's like this, I like the way that that internal rotation kind of packs the shoulder for me. And I feel a lot more stable even that way. So it's one of those, you know, you want to be able to move in all different directions with your body. And that includes internal rotation. So we avoid a lot of internal rotation because it is a shoulder killer. It just kind of is, especially when it's done badly, like when you bench press like this or something. Anyway, but what I'm doing here, you see it's actually helping me pack my shoulder and even engage my tricep more, so I'm actually a lot stronger. So I'll show you from all three vantage points what it looks like for me. I'm also going to show you a hand-to-hand swing, which is another variation you can use in your 100-day, 100-rep challenge. Not 100-day. I should make it 100-day, you lazy motherfuckers. I'm just kidding. You guys are, yeah, okay. So I'm going to start with my right arm, turn it in, and I'm going to do what I normally do with my left arm because that's just what works for me. Hike. Switch sides. And set it down safely. I need to do more single arm swings. That's actually really hard for me to control it down on the left. That's why I need it. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to do the hand-to-hand swing. So, start with the left. Turn it in. See that internal rotation. Hike. So there's kind of like a rotation at the top. Now, most people are concerned about dropping the bell. Usually that doesn't happen, actually to a detriment. Sometimes people need to just drop the fucking bell, just like they need to drop the barbell, and that's why it's important to practice that, because we don't want to let go, even if it like tears our shoulder out of the socket. That's not going to tear the shoulder out of your socket, but if you like fumble it, it would be a lot worse if you try to like catch it in mid-air and try to save it, versus just let it hit the fucking floor, because I don't care whose floor it is, it's more important than your shoulder. And you can quote me. So, then I'm just going to show you from this side, just so you see all the different angles. But again, I want you to notice, just like in that two-handed swing, or excuse me, the hand-to-hand swing, everything is the same. High up between the legs, playing chicken with my crotch. Can look down my shirt. Nice open chest. Shins vertical. Kneecaps stay in place. All of that stuff is still the same, including the bell coming up to just chest height. I don't care how heavy or how light the bell is. Well, that's not true. Some heavy bells, like you're not going to be able to get it up this high. But by the time you're swinging a bell like that, you're fucking badass. Like Sylvia Takada swings a 220-pound bell, and she's like itty bitty. Definitely follow her. I'm going to tag her because girl crush, and I want her to know who I am, selfishly. Okay, enough of this shit. get into habits. See that plank position at the top too? Staying square. And how I get it up there, right? Hips and flexing my quads, flexing my quads, flexing my quads, and set it down safely. All right, well, practice that. Again, you have the next 4 weeks to practice all these different swing variations. If nothing else, it's a really fucking great way to get some conditioning that doesn't involve this like front movement, right? Like running and cycling and walking and all this stuff. The way that the swing works your posterior chain and your lats, yes, you are in hip flexion, but it's using your glutes. It's actual hip flexion to hip extension instead of something like this where you don't really access your glutes. So if you're an athlete, if you're just getting started, whatever, anybody can learn how to do this. You have to learn the hinge before anything else, and then you can start learning the swing. Sometimes the swing can help you learn the hinge, but I want you to know that if you're doing that by yourself, you have to be careful. If you're ending up like this, that's when your back hurts. So if you are in front of a mirror and you don't see the bottom of the bell, you see yourself up here, even with a teeny tiny bell, you should still just see, watch your space, the bottom, that circle, okay? So using a lighter bell is just gonna prevent you from actually using your hips because you're more likely to use your shoulders, okay? If the bell kind of swings around like that, that usually means that you're lifting with your arms. If the bell ends up in a position like this, it means that you're using your arms. And all of those things, especially if you play with barbells, are not good because it means that you're not using your large core muscles, right? Lats are an unofficial part of your core, your glutes, your abs 360. That's what should be allowing the bell to float up. You're just pivoting from your shoulder. So look out for all of those little things. Remember too in the inappropriate cue for this week, that if you're ending up where I can't look down your shirt or your knees are forward, you're probably forcing the bell down and not playing chicken with your crotch enough to just let the ball of iron do its thing. And that's why you have to use a heavy enough bell. Otherwise, all you're probably doing is reinforcing a bad movement pattern, especially if you get pain or you can't do the movement correctly if you go heavier. Go back to your plank, go back to your hip hinge. Don't fucking accelerate until you can prove that you can do this shit. My name is Karis. This has been Fix Your Shitty Movement. All this swinging and swanging and kettlebell talk is making my day. 2021 is gonna be awesome. Just kidding, take that back. I'm gonna try to make it awesome, but you know, be gentle 2021. Anyway, what the fuck am I talking about? My name's Karis. I'll see you guys later.